can do what I want. Good evening, everyone. It is the City of Dania Beach regular city meeting on December the 10th. It is now 7:00 p.m. and I call this meeting to order. City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Mayor Davis.
Here.
Vice Mayor Salvino.
Here.
Commissioner Llewellyn.
Here.
Commissioner Romoli.
Here.
Commissioner Ryan.
Here.
City Attorney Boutsas.
Here.
City Manager Garcia.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Good job.
Thank you so much, City Clerk. Would you all please bow your heads for a moment of silence? Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Check me out. I'm gonna stand up for a second.
Next, we have presentations and special event approvals. We have item 3.1, which is special event applications for parks and recreation. Do we have a presentation for that, or we just need consensus?
Madam Mayor, we just need consensus. These are events that have been happening year after year, particularly the events at Dania Point, and we just seek your support.
Okay, do we have consensus from the commission?
Yes.
All right, we have consensus.
Get two on.
We do have a representative from Dania Point. Emily, would you like to speak about one of the items, please, if you want to come up?
In front of you all once again to talk about the annual event programming that we have planned for Dania Point in 2025. So we really continue to build off of the momentum that we've established at the center over the past few years. We feel that we've really built Dania Point into a hub for the community to come out and connect and engage and really create lasting memories with one another, whether you're participating in one of our events or if you're just enjoying the ambiance of the center. So we plan to continue with our weekly events. So we've got our Wellness Wednesday event on the lawn, which is yoga and Zumba every week. We've got our night markets, which will take place the second and fourth Friday of every month. We have live music, which takes place every Friday through Sunday, as well as our Family Sunday event, which takes place every Sunday afternoon. And we also plan to bring back our holiday events next year, so that will be the holiday markets on the lawn every Friday, as well as the snowman and snowfall experience on the lawn every weekend. So it's been great to be a part of everybody's holiday calendar and really see these events become a community staple. We also plan to bring back our annual events, so that will be the Dania 5K Fun Run Under the Sun. That's in partnership with the city, as well as the Dania Point Food and Wine Festival, which promotes all the different restaurants that we have at the center, as well as promoting just the center in general and Dania Beach as a great destination with lots of fun and interesting things to do. So thank you for your support and your partnership, and we're excited to continue the momentum next year.
Thank you so much, Emily. I was just there in the snowman presentation and setup. People love coming from all over. Thank you for continuing to elevate the game at Dania Point. We greatly appreciate your presentation and your partnership. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emily.
Commissioner Romoli.
Emily, can you just, for the benefit of everybody listening out there in the world and here, can you tell everybody how they would learn about your events?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can go to daniapoint.com, and we have all of our events listed on the events tab. And then we also have a social media page. So we've got an Instagram, which is dania.point, as well as a Facebook page where you can learn about all of our events.
Is there a place where people can sign up and get text messaging from you at all, or do you have that set up?
Yeah, you can subscribe to our email newsletter list. So that's daniapoint.com/getintheknow. And then you can sign up for monthly newsletters where we announce everything.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Commissioner. Next, we have item 3.2, which is a rededication plaque for the magnetic geodes artwork at City Hall in recognition of Robert Bo Donnelly. And this is an item sponsored by myself. Bo, Mimi, would you please come up? Prior to them coming up, I just wanted to, if you all just look in the back of City Hall here, we have a beautiful piece of artwork that was dedicated to Robert Bo Donnelly in 2022. That artwork was commissioned by me, and approved, but Bo and Mimi had a lot of input and insight in seeing how that piece of art would come to fruition. They have been staples in the city of Dania Beach, and Mimi is one of those, if you see something, say something, and she will definitely let us all know. So thank you, Mimi, for being who you are and making sure that we stay on our toes. Bo Donnelly, her husband, a teacher, a former commissioner. He was actually such a great elected official that his colleagues voted him mayor for a day, and he has risen in the ranks of Broward County as well as the state of Florida. He was the first president for the Broward League of Cities for Dania Beach, and he was also the first president for the Florida League of Cities for the city of Dania Beach. And for those of you who don't understand or don't know what the League of Cities are, it is a group, an organization at the county level, at the state level, and at the national level that makes sure that local choices are the decisions for local voices make local choices in their own cities and states. And so Bo Donnelly spearheaded those efforts and represented Dania Beach at the county and state level very, very well. And in just 3 days, it will be officially Bo Donnelly Day in the city of Dania Beach. So please give him a round of applause. And so my item this evening is to present him with a rededication of the plaque with this commission, with the consensus of this commission, to be placed back in City Hall, so that when your friends visit the next time, that they will see that it's not just a piece of art, but that it belongs to somebody who has created a true legacy in our city, and that we are truly grateful to have as a part of our city. And I'm seeking consensus from our commission. Do I have consensus? It is unanimous, and we have a small token of appreciation for you this evening as well that you can take home and don't have to come to City Hall to see. So if my colleagues would join me on the floor, we have a little presentation for you. But Bo, first, if you would like to tell us just a little bit about your experience, and he has a very special story about City Hall, but we're going to come down and we're going to listen to you.
So you can hear me?
Yes, if you can get behind, yeah. Can you get behind?
Okay. This is really an honor. I appreciate your, well, I can't get back there, so, yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, great. Super. Okay. Really appreciate this. It's an honor. It's a rerun of an honor, which is unusual, but I'm glad we're here. And I just want to say that my 12 years on the City Commission, I learned a great deal of many things. The most important thing I learned was that it takes 3 votes to get anything done. And I feel so pleased with our current commission and our administration and our city workers. It's never been better in Dania than it is now. This is the time for great things to happen. Congratulations to you.
Thank you, Bo.
smiling. Well done. One from over here. Got it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Bo and Mimi, and let's everybody mark your calendars for December the 13th, and remember to give them a celebratory call. Next, we have proclamations. We have no proclamations this evening, so we are on to our administrative reports. Madam Manager, would you please give your report?
Yes, thank you so much, Madam Mayor. Good evening, everyone, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, city team, the great residents of Dania Beach that are here with us and those that are watching on TV. I've had the honor of spending a considerable amount of time with our newly elected mayor and our deputy city manager and the team. And we want to continue to elevate the professionalism, not just here in the dais, but in our city. And it reminded me of a really, really wonderful session that I attended while I was in Pittsburgh as a credentialed city manager, myself and the deputy manager. We have to do 40 hours a year to continue our ongoing commitment to education and professionalism. And one of the classes that I attended was called Building Skills for Dignified Disagreements. We don't always have to agree, but we could disagree without being disagreeable. We saw what happened, we could see it on social media, we could see heated divisions amongst family members during the elections and throughout, and not just at home, but at work. So this class was truly remarkable because honoring someone's dignity can be difficult, especially when situations get heated. If you follow these steps when stress rises and join the movement of Americans easing divisions, preventing violence, and solving problems by choosing dignity over contempt. So we are looking forward to working with our HR director to be able to bring this class here to our city employees and to our elected officials as we continue to lead as Broward's first and best city. With that said, I want to move and talk about the 120th celebration that we had here in the city last month at Beach. It was a truly remarkable event. I was spending some time with the department directors and Parks and Recreation and our chief of fire. We calculated in excess of 5,000 people that were here having fun and really doing it safely. We couldn't have done this without the partnership and the support of these elected officials working very closely with the administration, our Parks and Recreation Department, our special events team, marketing, communications, and BSO and fire, because it's not just bringing people and planning an event, but keeping everybody safe. People were parking west of the tracks, which allowed the deputy city manager and I to really observe opportunities for additional parking. And we're going to be having a meeting shortly with the owners of an empty lot just 2 blocks from here, adjacent to the fire station. And begin to also look at the investments on the additional 2 floors here at the parking garage, because Dania After Dark is really becoming a staple here in our community. And we're very excited to invite everyone, and so everyone can begin to plan, because on January the 11th, the Dania After Dark will be the taste of Dania Beach. Folks, these events are truly remarkable. We're going to have a VIP tent. It's a free event, but there's also some additional benefits if you do purchase a VIP ticket. So mark your calendars for Saturday, January the 11th. Another wonderful event was the ribbon cutting of the newly renovated IT Parker Center. This is our premier premier, state-of-the-art rental facility, waterfront facility. If you're planning weddings, baby showers, birthdays, you have to come. We will give you the tour. But already the seniors will be coming and starting their meetings in January of next year, so we're going to kick it off. And we're already getting rental reservations, and this Thursday it gives me great pride to open the doors officially as we honor our employees for recognition and employee luncheon. So we're very excited about the IT Parker Center. On Thursday, December the 5th, our deputy city manager, myself, and our Parks and Recreation director, meeting with Dr. Wanza from Broward County Schools, we did a tour of Olson Middle School and a tour also of Collins Elementary School. We are going to be partnering with them. As you know, our schools are no longer on the shopping block, and it was such a total team effort by this mayor, the vice mayor, this commission. And at the end of the day, you know, you can either accept what comes our way, or you could really think outside the box, roll up our sleeves, and what we are discussing is really going to be the white paper and what's going to lead the way for the other 30 municipalities here in Broward County in regards to what can happen with our schools based on the needs that the city has and the space that they can offer to us. So we look forward to coming forward and bringing an official presentation, working with Broward County Schools, Dr. Wanza, and Superintendent Hepburn as well. On Tuesday, December the 3rd, our office manager, Chris, reached out to Lyle Summick and Associates, and one of the things that I discussed with the new commissioner and the new mayor is we have an adopted strategic master plan, the city's first ever, that we adopted back in 2021. Well, a lot has been accomplished in the past 3-4 years, so now we're going to see what we have accomplished and what we can add to the list as we continue to bring the vision for not just next year, but for the next 10, 15 years here for our city. We're doing everything with a game plan, like a playbook that a sports team would use to be able to move the city. That's the compass that we have, and that's how we plan our trips to Tallahassee, whatever we ask for at the county level, at the state level, and also at the federal level as well. And soon we'll be planning our trip back to Tallahassee that, as you know, has been very successful, mayor, vice mayor, and commission. So we're very, very excited about starting our strategic master plan in February and being able to really open the book, roll up our sleeves, and really bring another document, an amended document forward for the city. Very exciting and very honored. I was appointed by the board of the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance. That is the economic engine for all of Broward County, and I'm extremely, extremely excited to work with them. The recruitment of businesses and really working with existing businesses to make them better and thrive, but also to bring more businesses to our city, be able to let them know that we are here and there's advantages and opportunities to be part of this great city. So I'm extremely honored about that appointment, and I look forward to working with this commission and all of you to really continue to take our city to new heights. Very, very exciting. The Nybrook Swanson House, which is our historic house, as you can see, has been under construction. We're very, very excited that we will be finishing that construction on that beautiful project by next month, and we'll be working very closely with the Historic Society. I've been speaking with Joanna. She's extremely excited, all of you. And we really look forward to planning a really amazing ribbon cutting sometime at the end of January, early February. But there's a lot of great things. 2024 really was a banner year for our city, and a lot of successes and a lot of achievements. Also, you know, there were challenges and losses, and I don't want to end this year without, you know, letting you all know that despite all the great things that happened, you know, we did lose a very, very special employee that passed away suddenly. And we will honor the memory of Logan Pierce with our passion and our dedication and our enthusiasm in all we do moving forward in 2025 and beyond. Thank you so much, and this concludes my report.
Thank you, City Manager. Now we will move on to item 5.2, City Attorney.
I'm going to make it very quick. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. we'll talk soon.
Thank you, City Attorney. And we will go to item 5.3, City Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, this is our last meeting of 2024, so we will see you next year on January 14th, 2025 for your CRA meeting at 5:30, and then to follow at 7 p.m. with your regular City Commission meeting. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, City Clerk. Wow, the end of the year. It is here. All right, we will move on to our public safety reports, and we have our all-star Captain Jason Tarala on the way. Thank you so much, Captain. And we look forward to hearing from you. It was great to, I will just say, be with you at lunch today with our city team, our city manager, our colleagues here to recognize all of the work that your team does to make the city of Dania Beach safe. I won't get into everything right now because I'll start to cry, but you guys, thank you so much for having us at lunch today and letting us witness the depth of what your team does to protect our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, City Attorney. So thank you all first, before I get into my report, thank you all for coming today and showing the support to my team and my deputies here that do protect and serve our city. It means the world that every single one of you found the time out of your busy day to come and support them. And you got to hear just a little bit of what they do and why they were awarded Employee of the Month for each month. And you heard such a range from life-saving to a shooting, to burglaries, to apprehending long criminal investigations on fraud suspects. You got to hear such a wide range, and that's just such a small synopsis of what they do every day. So thank you again so much for coming and the continued support for my guys. They all know how much you support them. Obviously, it starts with the city manager in this commission, and we're greatly appreciated for everything. Thank you. Thank you. So I'll start off. We had a call that happened at the Walmart at 500 Sheridan Street last week, and it was a crime that happened there. And two of our deputies, Deputy Rika and Miranda, they went there for one call, and through their investigation, they actually identified a vehicle involved in the crime. And based on a video that they had from the Walmart, they actually identified this suspect. And through their investigative means, they identified that that individual was actually wanted for a bank robbery. They actually then, through their investigative means, identified that he lived in Hollywood. They were able to track him down on their own through their investigative means. They went to the city of Hollywood, and they were able to place him in custody for that outstanding warrant for bank robbery, as well as the crime that occurred at our Walmart. So that case was closed by arrest. Last week, there was an incident that occurred at 46 Southwest 7th Ave. It was, our deputies responded in reference to a burglary in progress. The owner of the property, which was an Airbnb, called stating that unknown subjects had entered her residence without permission and they were still inside. She advised the residence was last rented 2 days prior, was currently vacant, and no one should have been there. A perimeter was quickly established. Our canine and aviation were summoned and responded. Once the perimeter was set, our deputies approached the property and they identified the first arrestee inside the property, looking out the window. We had him safely exit the residence without any issues, and he was placed into custody. A sweep of the residence discovered nobody else was inside. At that time, a Uber pulled up in front of the residence. The second defendant arrived in the Uber and told the Uber driver to leave, don't stop. The Uber driver stopped and notified law enforcement that the gentleman in the Uber was acting suspicious. Our deputies immediately went up to the Uber driver, made contact with the defendant who was in the vehicle, and asked what he was doing. He denied having anything to do with the house and denied why he was there. Once the Uber driver confirmed that that was the residence he was going to, the defendant started acting suspiciously, reaching inside his backpack. Our deputies immediately grabbed him and detained him for his safety and ours. A search of the backpack that he was reaching inside, we discovered a fully loaded Glock 22 handgun, extended magazine clip, which was modified into a fully automatic machine gun. It was later determined that the gentleman inside the Airbnb and the gentleman who we placed in custody were there to meet for an unknown reason that we were not able to fully discover. Based on that handgun being modified into a machine gun, we contacted the ATF, who responded that night. On top of our charges at the state level, the ATF advised that they are going to be charging him federally for federal firearm charges for the modification of a handgun to an automatic firearm. That was a really good arrest, and yeah, really good arrest. And last, I wanted to touch base on Dania Point. I know that's always a hot topic here, and obviously we know what happened not last Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago. Unfortunately, we had about 1,500 juveniles throughout the Tri-County that ended up coming to Dania Point at once. Through our intel, we figured out that it was through social media posts. They all showed up at once. Once showing up on the property, we automatically contacted a TAP alert, which brings all of our deputies from surrounding jurisdictions onto the property. We automatically shut down the complex to safely get everyone off the property. In our course, we ended up arresting 8 juveniles. On those 8 juveniles, 4 of those juveniles were arrested for possession of firearms. 2 of those were arrested for trespassing. 2 of them were arrested for battery on law enforcement officers. Another one was arrested for carrying a concealed weapon. What I do want to let you guys know is that I can't give you the names because they're juveniles, but where these individuals were from that we arrested, one was from Miami, one was from Tamarack, one was from Hollywood, one was from Miramar, one was from Pembroke Park, one was from Sunrise, and one was from Fort Lauderdale. These individuals are coming into our city. It's not our Dania residents causing these problems. This is an ongoing issue that we're always going to have to deal with at Dania Point. We have an amazing partnership with Dania Point. Myself and the city manager met with them, and since then we have an amazing operational plan in place there. Kimco is paying for many law enforcement officers to be there on Saturday nights. That will continue for the foreseeable future. We're also working on some new ideas to maybe put a juvenile policy in place to not allow them on the property Saturday nights. They're working on their legal team with that. That's nothing that we can do. That's their property. That's something that they need to come up with a policy from their legal department. That is in the process right now. But we have an amazing operational plan in place there. And because of our law enforcement presence, we were able to quickly dispel that whole situation, get 8 in custody, get 4 guns off the street, get these juveniles in custody. Not a single shot was fired. Nobody was hurt. Unfortunately, when you have social media telling everyone to show up at one spot, no matter how much we do being proactive, social media is an issue we all have to deal with. And if one social media blast goes out to a bunch of high schools saying, everyone come to Dania Point tonight, there's only so much we can do. But we're there to deter it, and we'll do our best. And we're working with Kimco to further come up with better ideas and better ways to deter it in the future. That's all I have.
Thank you, Chief. We do understand that is one of our top concerns is priority is with Dania Point. And so I know that you guys are doing everything that you possibly can to make sure that it's one of the safest places. And thank you for letting us know that these are not our teens here in Dania Beach. I wish that word got out a little bit more because these are people who are descending, these juveniles from other cities to make our city unsafe. But thank you for all that you're doing in conjunction with our city management team to keep us safe.
And myself and the city manager, we meet with Kimco, and we have ongoing discussions with them and where we can improve. But we have up to 15 deputies working there on Saturday night just through what Kimco's paying. That's more than most cities have on law enforcement for an entire shift. And that's just what we have on that property. That is an astronomical amount of law enforcement presence for one complex. And that's not even including our patrol. That is just overtime, special detail that is assigned to there that Kimco is funding. We still have our regular patrol deputies. I bring in deputies from other districts to help. So that is a major operation. But at the same point, that is such a huge complex. We're getting thousands and thousands and thousands of people coming in. It's a lot to overtake from a law enforcement perspective, but we do a great job. We have a great relationship with Kimco, myself and the city manager. We're always in contact with them, and I think we're gonna have a meeting again with the new general manager to see some new ideas that maybe we can address. But we're on top of it. There's no one who's more proactive than myself and the city manager.
Thank you so much. We do have a comment from Vice Mayor.
Did you say 1,500 people were there?
That's what we estimated. 1,500 juveniles showed up at once.
You know, you mentioned that a blast goes out on social media. I don't know how that stuff works, but is there a possibility that we monitor that social media that night and
we did? That's how we knew.
I was gonna say, and then maybe we're canceling it and somebody else put an input into it or canceling.
Our real-time crime center and our threat management, once we got word, we asked them to monitor. So they monitored and they picked up on the social media threats. So they notified us that all these posts were going out. So they notified us, so we were able to bring in extra resources. But once those posts are going out, you know, they spread like wildfire. And the word just gets out to all these kids, go to Dania Point, go to Dania Point. There's only so much we can do. Social media is something that we didn't have to deal with 15, 20 years ago. It's a new generation of communication.
Put your own social media out there telling you you're going to meet the men in green.
Well, we do, and we have our signboards up, and we're going to work with Kimco to further come up with a policy for the juveniles on Friday, Saturday nights, and we're working on that with them now.
Okay. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Llewellyn.
I know most of us go out to Dania Point frequently. I have actually spoken with a few of the businesses out there and some of the people that work there. They have definitely noticed an increase in police presence, and they feel safe. They feel protected. They feel that everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. So, and they know that a lot of the vehicles are not necessarily marked vehicles that are out there. So I wanted to put that out there so that people do hear it, that it is still, just because you hear things on the news doesn't mean that it's always completely accurate. So it's definitely a safe thing. It was a proactive measure that was taken.
Of course.
And I know this is something that has happened in other cities as well. It's not just here. So I think it's important for our residents to know, and people that are coming to visit the city and coming to visit Dania Point, that they do know that this is a safe environment.
100%.
There are proactive measures that are going on, and even the people that are there all the time, who work there, who spend a lot of time there, feel much safer than they used to.
And thank you for bringing that up, because, you know, we've talked about the whole summer. We didn't have any issues over the summer with our plan. This, knock on wood, has only been a one-time occurrence since the summer. For whatever reason, they chose, I think maybe because it was Thanksgiving weekend, it's possible everyone was out, but we haven't had that issue in 4 months, 5 months. So it looks like it might have just been a one-time thing, but we're preparing for the future, for the next month, for Christmas break coming up with the kids. We will have a very, very, very extensive plan in place there to address if it happens again.
Thank you. And thank you for the whole team.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Commissioner. And next, we will bring up our most supportive fire chief, who also joined us for lunch today, Chief Sergio Pellicer. Thank you, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, City staff, and the great citizens of Dania Beach. So I will tell you about November. We had a very good month. We conducted 2 toy drives. They were both very successful. I'd like to thank Ashley and her team for helping us set up here at City Hall during the light up event. And then also in Dania Point, the Friday after Thanksgiving, we had another toy drive there that was very, very successful. So the one thing I will tell you is that the city manager talks to me about legacy. And the most important thing that happened for me that day was that we had over 22 cadets, meaning anywhere from the ages of 14 to 18 kids show up and participate. So they get to see what the fire service does. And we could start to build a legacy and teach them young. So to me, that was the most important thing that happened. Never mind the collecting the toys. We're going to do that every year. But the kids get to learn what, you know, we set an example, and they're the future. So we got to start them young. So 2 of those kids were actually Dania residents, and I'll next commission meeting, I'll bring them up and introduce them to you. As far as Christmas goes, there's just a couple of tips that I want to give out to our residents out there. If you have a real tree, please water it. Make sure the water levels are good. If you have a fake tree, don't water it. And just make sure you check your wiring on both. Also, do not overload your circuits. Just because you have an extension cord, you know, don't add more prongs to it, because it'll overload and that can cause a fire. And lastly, the month of November, we had 669 total emergency responses. 132 of them were fire-related. 537 of them were EMS related. And our inspectors did 212 total inspections, and they reviewed 83 plans. So it was a busy month, and you know, we're just going to keep on bringing in 2025. I thank you for the support throughout this year, and I'm grateful for being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chief. I did see the photos from that. Thank you for your mentorship with those cadets. We really appreciate all the great work that you do. And next, we have citizens' comments, item 7. And first up, we have Rich Obi. Did I say that properly? Obi. See. Please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, Rich Aubie, 675 Southeast 2nd Avenue, Dania Beach, Florida. Good evening, Commissioners, Mayor.
Good evening.
Staff, Manager, good evening. Tonight I come with some good news. Besides being a resident of Dania, I'm also the president of the Hollywood Lions Club. We work very close at hand with the Dania Lions and all the different service clubs in Hollywood and Dania. The good news is Hollywood finally, after many, many years, is getting a service sign put up. It's already put up, and we're having a ribbon cutting on January 8th. You guys are invited. Everybody's invited. It's right on the corner of Hollywood Boulevard and I-95, just when you're going east. I have a presentation that I'm going to go over with you in a second, but to keep my mind clear, I also have some notes right here I'd like to go over with you because it will probably answer many of the questions that you might have. I'm sure you know what service is all about. You guys do it yourself. You know what service clubs represent to the community. Unity in Service, a proposal for a service sign club in Dania Beach. Dania Beach is a vibrant city with strong sense of community, and service clubs plays a vital role in making it a better place to live. By installing a service sign with the logos of different service clubs, we can promote unity, recognition, and community engagement. Some of the benefits of the service sign, promoting community awareness. A service sign raises awareness about the various service clubs in Dania Beach, encouraging residents to get involved and to make a difference. It fosters unity among service clubs. By displaying the logos of different service clubs together, we promote a sense of unity and cooperation among all the different organizations. It enhances community pride. A service sign is a visible symbol of the city's commitment to community service, enhancing pride among residents and visitors. It supports economic development. By promoting service clubs and community engagement, we can attract businesses, residents, and visitors who value community involvement. Some of the different service clubs in Dania Beach you may be familiar with. Of course, there's the Lions Club, there's the Rotary Club, there's the Kiwanis, the Optimists, and there's a few other ones. As far as the proposed location and the design, the proposed location for the service sign could be a busy intersection or a gateway to the city, a highly visible location near City Hall, or a community center. The design of the sign could feature a large eye-catching display with the logos of the participating service clubs, a brief message or a slogan promoting community service and unity, and a durable weather-resistant material to ensure longevity. My proposal is if the city could do this before the end of 2026, 22 more days into the new year, it'd be great to have this as a challenge. In conclusion, a service sign features the logos of different service clubs in Dania Beach is a wonderful way to promote unity, recognition, and community engagement. We believe that this project will have a positive impact on the city and its residents, and we look forward to working with the city to make it a reality. It took me 3 years to pretty much lead the city of Hollywood into getting the service sign. So I come today challenging the city of Dania to just pay attention, and maybe we can do something. Here's
Mr. Abe,
Yes.
we have to keep
gotta
it
cut
to
it?
what, we got to
Okay.
keep it to our 3 minutes, but we can have a little question here. I wish
Great.
we had put this under a presentation or something longer, but
I understand.
will have Vice Mayor to comment.
I was just good. Yes, Mayor, normally this would come under a pre-presentation that it would be brought up to the commission on a presentation where you would have this opportunity to go longer. So, even though that it is a service club, it is a situation, maybe we can extend it a couple of minutes for him instead of coming back. Would that be okay with you to do that and let him finish the presentation? Because it's not, he'll have to reschedule and come back. It's your call.
I would prefer to have a conversation. I don't want this
Very well.
to turn into a longer
That's
event.
fine.
I think we can, if you have just
I
a
could
quick
show you the
video.
slides. It's not really a video. It's just to show
Yeah.
you what the sign looks like.
I'll give you a little
And
leeway to
thank
show
you,
us
and
that, but I would
gladly
prefer
come
to
back
do it,
next
yes.
year, because probably nothing's going to happen right now. But I can come back next year, and I could talk for 10 minutes if you like. This is where the sign was already installed. It's done on a City of Hollywood land right in front of the Hollywood J.C. Hall. So they own that land, and you can see it when you're going eastbound on Hollywood Boulevard just before you go on I-95. Please stop by and check it out. There's the sign. It's made out of a wire mesh. It took a while to get the permits and all. And it says Service Clubs in the City of Hollywood has their logo. It'd be great to say, see it, love it, and the Dania logo there. That's about how tall it is. We have a relationship with a company already, Signorama, that we've been using. I could connect the city with the right people to find out some prices and what have you. And that's what it says on the front. That's it, really. I can answer any questions you have. I'm just really excited that Hollywood has it. And being that I play and I work in Dania, I feel that it's only right that the sister city to the City of Hollywood might want to keep up with the pace.
We do a lot of partnerships with the City
Yeah.
of Hollywood, and I think we're good sister cities. I
Great.
would just like to come back and let the commission marinate on this, and we can talk about it in depth at a proper time.
Excellent.
Under
And I can come back
presentation, and you
next
can
year.
get with our, and put it
more
on
about
the
it.
agenda. Thank you so much.
My goal was just to rattle the pot tonight.
You
Thank
did, you did a great
Commissioners.
job. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, and appreciate the Lions Club in Hollywood and Dania Beach.
Big roar.
Big roar. All right, next for citizens' comments, we have Lydia Berbecki. Did I say that properly? Please come up and state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Lydia Berbecci, 222 Northeast 2nd Place. I live in Dania Beach and we enjoy the city. Thank you for all the improvements the city has made for us lately. Just want to bring concern regarding our safety. We live right parallel to where Frost Park is. Frost Park is on Northeast 2nd Street. We live on Northeast 2nd Place. We have teenage children who love to play at the park. It's great. We just can't cross the street. There is no pedestrian crosswalk at all. So I'm always concerned when they say we're going to go to the park, like I have to walk with you, but they're big enough to go by themselves. And we would really appreciate, I know it's a very busy street, it's getting even busier with the buildings just built down the street there. The cars do not stop, we have to wait for minutes. One evening, a guy literally almost ran me over because he was on his phone and he started cursing me, and he had all the rights. I have no right to cross the street, even though I live right across. So I really hope you take into consideration to just, there's such beautiful pedestrian walks on this side of railroad, of the tracks. We just need some on that side, especially on the 2nd Street. It would really be much safer for us to use the park. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Berbecci. We do have a traffic officer that's newly assigned, a brand new full-time officer that's assigned to be full duty, but we can let you speak to him directly about that, or city manager, if you can give it a little bit more light about that. But we have assigned 2 full-time deputies to traffic to patrol these areas to make sure that we have a safer environment.
No, I understand, and we feel very safe, and we love the area. It's just that we need somehow a crosswalk, a pedestrian crosswalk, to be there all the time. I mean, I go and walk the dog at 7 p.m., there's nobody there. The cars are not going to stop if they don't see some flashing lights somewhere. The kids go and play, there's not, I understand, and we feel very safe, and we're grateful, but just, I think that would really help.
Thank you so much. I'm going to let our city manager speak to this a little bit more. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We had the same concern from a couple of residents adjacent to C.W. Thomas, and we were able to incorporate some new stop signs that have flashing.
And those are great. We see
And
them.
we have some on Fifth Avenue.
Yes.
So what we're going to do, working with our parks team as a proactive effort, is look at all the crossways leading into our major city parks to see if it's those flashing red lights or maybe some traffic calming that we can incorporate. But thank you
That
for
would be
bringing
great.
this to our
That
attention.
would be great, yes. And I've seen those on the streets, what you're saying. So that would be great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Berbecci. And now we are going to move on to item 8, the consent agenda. Are there any items that the commission wishes to pull from the consent agenda? Commissioner Ryan,
Yeah, I'd like to pull item 8.5, please.
do I have a motion?
Make a motion that we pass all items except for 8.5.
Let me, I can't get it.
Just yell it.
It's okay, it's okay. Second. There's too many on, that's why.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda item except for 8.5. All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. All right. The consent agenda passes except for item 8.5. And Commissioner Ryan,
Would you like me to read 8.5?
please.
It's a resolution of the City Commission authorizing the proper city officials to execute a second amendment of the agreement with Broward County for maintenance of bus shelters, retroactively providing for the installation of an additional 16 bus stop shelters, providing for conflicts and an effective date. This is a public services item.
Good evening. Go ahead. You could describe it first. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, Fernando Rodriguez, Public Services Director. How are you all? Thank you for your, your question. These are 16 additional shelters that actually were installed by the county as part of a second amendment. They were a little bit behind in letting us know, so they are out there already, and they are distributed pretty evenly throughout the city. You look at the addresses, they cover everything from Anglers to US 1, Griffin Road, Phippen Road has a couple, so they're really pretty well distributed. They will service these shelters. As you know, they protect the bus user, rider from wind, rain, and sun. So the shelters will not cost the city any additional funding. They were installed by the county at their cost. Our streets division has the capacity to maintain the trash bins and the trash around the shelters. Any further damage can be covered by a company called Gold Coast that we contract with. They will fix if a glass panel is cracked or a structural member is bent. So we have coverage of the shelter maintenance, the heavy maintenance and the light trash maintenance of all 16 shelters at no extra cost.
Okay. Yeah, I see this is retroactive approval after they've already built them, and there's 16 more.
Yes.
And we don't have like a budgetary impact for it yet, but I'm sure we could handle it no problem. My biggest question about this is who handles the advertising for the bus stops?
Well,
is that the city's responsibility? Can we advertise it to other entities? Do we advertise?
We could look into that. I know we have events that are advertised on the panels, our city events. But as far as having revenue-generating advertising, is what you're thinking about, maybe private companies advertising, that those shelters, I would have to work with the county on that to make that happen, to work on kind of an arrangement.
Okay.
It's a county, just so you're clear, there's a county agreement for the advertising on the shelters. So it's in a county agreement, and they do provide us a certain amount a year for advertising, but the rest is all the counties.
It's a percentage.
It's on the county, so the county gets their own vendors? Okay, and the vendors choose from the list, and it could be in Dania. All right, and then the city gets a certain number
Percentage,
as well?
yeah.
What's our number? Do we know?
I'd lie to you, I don't remember off the
Okay.
top of my head.
It's a small. It's not. It's like 10-15%. It's not like a huge percentage from what I remember, from what I recall, but I can't quote you the percentage.
It's very small.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah, I just wanted that information. Thank you for answering my questions. Other than that, I'm fine with the item.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion to pass the item.
Have a motion from Commissioner Ryan. Do I have a second? Second from Commissioner Llewellyn. All in favor say aye. All right, item 8.5 passes. Moving on to our bids and requests for proposals. We have
Would you like me to read 9.1?
item 9.1. Eve, if you could please read item 9.1.
A resolution of the City Commission authorizing the award of ITB 24-30 entitled Rehabilitation of Lift Station 12 Project to Southern Underground Industries, Inc. in the amount of $3,699,900, providing for conflicts and effective date. This is also a public services item.
Thank you, Eve, City Attorney. This is one of 9 lift stations that we have slated to refurbish fully. They are getting up in years, and these are critical infrastructure stations that basically move the sanitary water from a lower elevation to a little bit higher elevation, so they can be pumped. The water can be pumped to be treated upstream by a treatment plant in Hollywood. So this sanitary water has to be moved by the lift stations. We have 17 in total throughout the city. There are 9 that require fairly immediate refurbishing. Number 12 is one of those 9. Lift station number 12. That's just an enumeration for this station. It is in Taylor Lane, and it services all the marinas in that area, Northeast 7th Avenue, Northeast 10th Street. So that whole area near Taylor Lane. The cost of the refurbishing is partially going to be covered by our own funds from the Sewer Fund Infrastructure and Buildings, but also there's a grant that would be covering the American Rescue Plan Act, covers $1.8 million. So the total amount of $3.7 million cost will be covered roughly half by our own funds and half by a grant. Again, lift station number 12, and this item is just to award the bid to Southern Underground Industries. They bid successfully for this job.
Thank you, Fernando. Do I have a motion to approve item 9.1? Vice Mayor,
Make a motion to approve 9.1.
do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Llewellyn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. All right, item 9.1 passes. Eve, now we have item 9.2. Would you please read item 9.2?
Absolutely. It's a resolution of the City Commission awarding request for proposal 24-14 and authorizing the purchase and implementation of smart water meter advanced metering infrastructure AMI system from Utility Solutions and Automation USA, providing for funding, conflicts, and effective date. This is a finance item.
Good evening, everyone. This is to award the RFP for the purchase and implementation of a water and sewer AMI system to Utility Solutions and Automation. AMI is advanced metering infrastructure, and what that means is smart water meters. They're going to be connected to the internet, and they transmit the meter readings to the cloud automatically and continuously. The current meters are mechanical devices. They require to be manually read once per month for billing purposes, and then these new ones would be ultrasonic and guaranteed accurate for the life of the meter. Our current manual process is labor-intensive, prone to issues and errors, and has no proactive benefits to our consumers. Since the smart meters are connected, there's alerts that provide proactive leak detection and potentially save customers money over time. So we contracted with Quanta Technologies earlier this year to assist with the planning and bidding and implementation of the project. We issued the RFP. We received a number of responses, narrowed it down to the 3 most qualified proposals. The committee conducted in-person interviews with them, and we unanimously selected Utility Solutions and Automation as the most qualified. For the past few months, we've been working with our consultant Quanta, negotiating the agreement. I'm pleased that we finally arrived at mutually agreeable terms for this project. It'll begin in the new year, take about 6 to 9 months to complete. It's turnkey, so the vendor will handle the entire installation and implementation. These devices carry a 20-year warranty, and the company will come in and troubleshoot any issues and replace them as needed. Additionally, they're going to maintain the entire meter system, including the pits where the meters lie, to ensure that we always have accurate readings month to month. Customers will have access to a new utility billing and payments platform, and as mentioned earlier, they'll have the ability to receive alerts and notifications when there's high consumption. We're going to conduct a large public information campaign to allow all customers the opportunity to understand how the project affects them. And the total cost of the project is $3,667,583. $3 million of that is coming from the American Rescue Plan, ARPA funding. The remainder will come from the Water and Sewer Fund reserves, which are available. And lastly, we have a companion item 12.2 on second reading tonight. It's an ordinance that'll approve the expenditure over $1 million in accordance with the city charter. Lastly, I just want to publicly thank our consultant, Quanta. Jesus Gonzalez is over here, and they've been extremely helpful throughout this project, an advocate for the city in negotiating this contract and giving us the best terms possible. And all the city team members who helped us get to this point, and we look forward to this new relationship and starting the project in the new year. And I'm here to answer any questions you have about the project.
Thank you so much for that very thorough presentation, Frank. And we have comment from Vice Mayor.
Of course you do. So just to make it clear, so anybody's listening, it's not any cost to the resident at this time for changing the meter out, correct?
There'll be no cost whatsoever.
Okay, and then the meter, it's going to take between 6 and 9 months to change out everybody throughout the city.
Yes.
And the funding came from the city's funds, plus we do have ARPA.
Yeah, the American Rescue Plan is
I thought you said
most of
Markov.
the funding.
Okay. All right, no, I just want to make it loud and clear because I couldn't quite hear you on that. I just want to make sure they hear that there's no charge to them at all. That's all I have to say, Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Llewellyn.
And just to clarify, because it's a little bit of echo in here, so, and I don't know if everybody can hear completely as well. This is a proactive system also. It's not just going to read the meter. If somebody has a leak, for example, it should notify them?
Yes.
Notify somebody?
The customers will be able to log in and get access to those alerts to their device or their email address. And we will also get the same alerts in our office. So even if they don't get them, we're going to see them and notify customers as soon as we see an issue. Right now, we don't know that there's an issue until a month later when the meter reading is done. And then we have to, it creates a very uncomfortable process with the customer because there may be a leak and it's very hard to get down to the bottom of it. This will help prevent those issues in the future.
That's good. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Llewellyn. Commissioner Ryan.
Yes, thank you. You said that all the meters are connected to the internet?
Yes.
How so?
There's going to be an antenna that's connected to every meter, and it'll transmit using a cellular device like your cell phone, and everything goes through the cloud and gets captured in the back end through the software.
Okay, so each meter has the antenna on it.
Yeah, the lids have a hole in them, and the antenna gets installed with like a flange right in the top of the lid, so they transmit up to the cloud.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan. Vice Mayor.
I was making a motion to pass the item.
Commissioner Llewellyn.
No, go ahead. You had a question.
Commissioner Romoli.
Hey, Frank, it's also going to be placed on businesses, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, good.
And we have approximately 5,000 meters in the system. It's all east of I-95, and that's all of our residents and commercial customers.
Commissioner Llewellyn.
And real quick, is this the same thing that we talked about like 4 years ago?
Yes.
Awesome. I remember hearing about this before. I will second the motion.
Very excited. I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Okay, item 9.2 passes. Thank you, Frank and Commission. Moving on to item 9.3. Eve, would you please read that?
Absolutely. A resolution of the City Commission authorizing the award of ITB 24-20 Dania Beach City Hall window and door replacement to Tech Group 1, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $265,501.50, plus a 10% contingency for unforeseen circumstances, providing for conflicts, and an effective date. This is Public Services.
Good evening again. This item is actually quite important for two reasons. The windows and doors are so aged, decades old in many cases, they no longer contain our air conditioning air within the building, and it allows intrusion of untreated air from the outside. They are also, probably more importantly, also not hurricane resistant. So this replacement of the windows, there's dozens of windows and doors at the cost of $265,000 plus the contingency, was awarded to Tech Group 1 as the most responsive and best cost for the city, lowest cost. And basically, it is just an item to award the bid.
Thank you, Fernando. Any discussion on this item? Vice Mayor?
I'm trying to understand, the windows and door replacements to the,
In City Hall.
every single window is what you're saying? Okay, because it didn't say doors and windows, it says door and window, so I kind of,
Thank you.
I was going to say, that's a lot of money for one
Good
door and
catch.
one window.
Good catch.
Okay, I'll make a motion we pass item
Thank you.
9.3.
I have a motion from Vice Mayor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Ramoli. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Thank you. Item 9.3 passes. Next up, we have item 10, quasi-judicial and public hearing items. There are none. So we will move on to item 11, which are the first reading ordinances, and there are no first reading items. So we will continue on to item 12.1. These are the second reading ordinances. Eve, if you could please read item 12.1.
Absolutely. It's an ordinance of the City Commission authorizing the expenditure of city funds exceeding $1 million for rebuilding lift station number 12, providing for codification, conflict, severability, and an effective date. This is a public services item. It is the companion to item 9.1. It is the expenditure for the $1 million, and it is a public hearing item.
All right, this is a public hearing. Do I have anyone that wishes to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, Vice Mayor,
I got to put my light on. Oh, I make a motion we pass 12.1.
do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Llewellyn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, item 12.2 passes. Next up, we have item 12.3. Oh, 2, sorry, it's getting late. 12.2, Eve, would you please read item 12.2?
Yes, ma'am. An ordinance authorizing the expenditure of city funds exceeding $1 million for the purchase of a smart water meter, advanced meter infrastructure AMI system, providing for conflict, severability, and an effective date. This is a finance item. You just heard the item under 9.2. This is to allow us to expend those funds over $1 million, and it is also a public hearing.
This is a public hearing. Do I have anyone to speak for or against this item? Do I have a motion? Vice Mayor,
Make a motion we pass item 12.2.
do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, item 12.2 passes. Item 12.3, Eve?
An ordinance of the City Commission amending Chapter 17 entitled Offenses Miscellaneous to repeal the city's camping ordinance in order to enforce the county's anti-camping ordinance, and providing for notice to the city of camping violations, providing for conflicts, codification, severability, and an effective date. This is a city attorney item. So very briefly, the state legislature enacted a new statute this year that was effective July 1st relating to preclusion of camping on public streets, rights-of-ways, parks, and also in public doorways of private properties. And that we already had an ordinance in place that was created by then Vice Mayor Lori Llewellyn that we, as you know, we all adopted unanimously, that provided an effective way to work with BSO. Unfortunately, since the adoption of that ordinance, BSO, the jail system has advised that they cannot enforce the local ordinances, but they will enforce the county ordinance that was recently adopted in September. So what we're doing here is repealing our ordinance so that there's no confusion. We're acknowledging that we're going to be using the county ordinance. The second step of this ordinance is that there's a second later date on the state law, which is effective on January 1st of 2025, that provides a private right of action to residents. This private right of action basically says that once the city is notified by a resident of a camping situation, an illegal camping situation, the city has 5 business days to resolve that situation. If it's not resolved, then that resident has a private cause of action against the city. or the county, whichever may be, for damages, attorney's fees, and costs. So the state law didn't provide how the community should give notice to the local government, whether it's the county or the city. And as such, we have created an email communication, which all complaints should go to, and that is encampment@daniabeachfl.gov. So all complaints go there. It will be monitored 24/7, and the city will take proper action so that the encampments will always be resolved. And it is a public hearing item for today.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak for or against this item? And Eve, just for our clarification, and I think public clarification, there is a marketing plan in place to go with this item, and so that we can get this information and communicate to as many people as possible.
Yes, I don't know if Nanette is ready to talk about it, but I know she was working on it earlier, and there will be different email blasts and different communications and on our social media.
Thank you so much. All right, do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion, we pass item 12.3. What is this, right?
I have a second by Commissioner Ryan. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, item 12.3 passes. We are on to item 13, discussion and possible action. Community Grants Program Discretionary Funds, Policies and Procedures, sponsored by Commissioner Llewellyn. Commissioner Llewellyn.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm actually going to call up our CFO, Frank DiPaolo, because we've been working on this with the city manager. Before we had contingency funds for our individual use, we did have a community grants program. Vice Mayor may recall it as well because it was in place when he was. Happened? I went off. I'm back on. Okay. And it was set aside at the time. We had talked about disbanding it, but then maybe bringing it back, trying to fix it a little bit, make it work a little bit better. And then it just never happened, and we ended up with the contingency funds that we each have. And there's nothing wrong with the contingency funds. But the difference is with a community grant program, this would allow us to basically put out there which organizations we're going to be donating money to, and have an opportunity to vet those organizations before it comes before us. We all received some emails recently about some questions about some of the organizations that we have given money to. We also usually get questions about whether or not those organizations are going to benefit city residents or if it's going to be larger groups of people. This type of program would help to fix some of those problems and address some of those issues so that we're not having to, at the 11th hour, talk about who it is that we want to donate money to. And we have all the information in front of us, and we're better educated, and it's a best practice overall. And I'll have Frank talk about it a little bit more. The other factor that comes along with this is that we have a number of different funding sources that we have for different things that we do, and I think we're kind of overlapping some of them. Some things that maybe should be coming out of expense accounts or going through contingency funds, things like that. I think it would be better if we had a policy in place so we knew exactly what it is that we're supposed to be using that money for, so that down the road we don't get questions like we did in that email. And that's the biggest thing. It's to protect all of us. It's to protect our residents. It's to protect the city as a whole. And we like I said, we did some research on this and talked about it for a bit, and I wanted to bring it to you all so that and let Frank talk about it a little bit more to explain kind of what we were thinking. Fair?
Sounds good. Thank you, Commissioner. And I mean, the Commissioner explained it really well. And what we're looking for at this time is some consensus among the City Commission to take a look at the discretionary funds policy, which is a part of our community grants program. They really are kind of one and the same when it comes to the eligibility of the organizations. The accountability should be there. But one is a formalized funding cycle. That would be the community grants program. We would put money in the budget every year. We'd kick off, have people apply for grants. They would be reviewed and vetted to make sure the non-for-profit status is up to date. all that kind of stuff, make sure that they've demonstrated a clear impact directly to the Dania Beach community, the residents of the city. And then we would forward those to the city commission that would be discussed, and you all would award those based on who you felt were the most qualified recipients of those grant funds. This is basically the process that we had in the past, but it was very loose. There was no formal process. It was just, here's who we want to give money to, and then the money would go, and there was really no accountability. The community grants program is intended to provide that accountability, which was lacking in the past, and just provide, at the end, they would provide a report. They would show exactly how they benefited the community, and it would demonstrate really the good use of those taxpayer dollars and how it impacted the community. The discretionary funds program is basically the same thing. It just allows for these donations to be provided outside of that funding cycle. So it's sort of like a companion to or a supplement to the community grant program. Sometimes things come up that weren't available at the time that the grant funding cycle was open, and you all may feel that that's a really valid thing you want to contribute to. So it's more of like emerging things that pop up, not intended to be the regular grant funding cycle. So what I would recommend is that we take a look at the grants program, possibly allocate some of the commission contingency funds towards that and establish a funding cycle for that. Aside from that, you still have your discretionary funds that you can utilize throughout the year. What we're asking for that program is that the items get forwarded to the administration. So you put who's requesting the funds, what it's for, and some backup to the item. So we can do that vetting process through finance and legal. And then as long as we don't see any issue on that end, we're not saying whether it's merit-worthy or not, we're just saying whether it just passes the basic muster for a donation to an organization, then we would put that on a city commission consent agenda for you all to review and discuss if necessary. So it'd still have the same consensus. It would give you more opportunity to look at it before you come to the meeting rather than you all just kind of hearing it for the first time in the public forum. And then if we see any issues, we have the opportunity to pull back on it, let you know there may be a concern here, and then we need to do a little bit more research and make sure this is a valid donation. So we can just make a simple change to the discretionary funds policy to make that, it's just saying the consent agenda approval, and we have a form. It's very straightforward. And then lastly, as the commissioner mentioned, you do all receive an expense allowance as a part of your duties as an elected official when you go around town and you meet with people and you go to events. And some of those things, we can forward you all a copy of the policy just as a refresher. I'm happy to review it with you one-on-one if you'd like. But some of those things include like going to lunches for organizations, purchasing tables for these events, things like that, where the city is not an overall sponsor of the event, but you want to attend and represent the city. As the elected official, your expense allowance is supposed to cover those. Purchasing flowers for people for bereavement from you personally as a commissioner, not from the city as a whole, things like that. It's all covered by your expense allowance that you receive. So again, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, and we like that consensus to move forward and just make that update to the discretionary funds policy. And then I would like to see if possible we could do something with the community grant program this year.
Thank you, Frank. Vice Mayor.
Okay, thank you. I don't think anybody was here that's up here at all when I was on the commission in 2014? And we had that type of fund in place, I think, as you were talking about. I have to tell you that, first of all, we're talking about taxpayers' dollars. Secondly, we're talking about an opinion of each of us that may make a suggestion to what we want. And I remember vividly the commission fighting over that. And the reason they fought over it was because my club is better than your club, and that club's better than this club, and that club is better than that club, and this person deserves that more than this. And it turned into a mess. And the best thing that happened to us at that point, because everybody has individual opinions, was when we went to our contingency funds where we were able to pick it out. I don't know how extensive the dollar amounts that, I guess this was your item, right? I don't know how high the dollar amounts were allocated towards the, to the grants or to discretionary of where it was going to go to and how would they get chosen. But, I'd almost be, in favor more of putting it back onto the contingency and let the individual place it towards where they want to go to, because then it doesn't start an argument amongst the commission. Because if somebody turns down somebody else's thing on a 3-2 vote, back and forth, it's just going to start animosity. That's just my opinion. Now, I don't know if I'm understanding all this right or not, but I feel like I am because like I said, I've been through all that and it was bad. And I challenge all of you up here to go back to those commission meetings to see the disgruntled commission we had for that argued about the money at that time when they came up. So I'm not against by helping anybody out there. I mean, I'm all in favor of that by a whole bunch. I don't know whether or not we should, at the beginning of the, like when we do our master plan, which works really well for us, our strategic master plan, maybe at a strategic master plan, we should put that on that item and discuss, let's choose now and have a list of 20 people that we want to donate through to this year for that, and we all agree on those 5 or 4 or 2 or whatever we come up with, and then we all don't have a problem. I just don't want to get up here and have somebody get mad at me or say no or somebody else get mad at me for saying yes or something. I've been through it and it just wasn't fun. So I'm just letting them know that here that has not been on the commission when I was and it did not work, to review it go back to the old city commission tapes, look at them, talk to somebody that's been on it, some of the older commissioners, and you'll find out what I'm talking about. But I am, just so you know, I am not opposed to the programs. I'm just opposed of how we go about it. That's what I have to say. So if I have anything else as it comes up, I'll let you know. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Llewellyn.
I don't know if anybody else wants to speak on this, but I just wanted to clarify something as well. I was actually part of a commission that had, I think I was mayor at the time, when we did have a very contentious budget meeting dealing with these particular issues. And there was a whole problem with that, and there was a problem balancing the budget. I believe it was the CRA budget, because I think it was under the CRA at that time, and it did become very, very contentious. I think the main problem with it, though, was because there wasn't a proper policy in place at the time, and that was one of the reasons why everything was taken away. This is talking about actually putting a policy in place that allows us to, at a minimum, vet the different organizations that we're talking about, because we're already doing this. We're already, at almost every single meeting, you see there is money from contingency going to different organizations. We have, in the past, given away thousands of dollars to certain organizations, and we do approve it up here amongst ourselves. But all we're looking to do, as far as I'm understanding from what we've talked about, is trying to put this so that there's more transparency. We know up front who it is that the donations would be going to, vetting them properly, and then we would still have an opportunity to vote on it. And it's not a matter of, I mean, you can discuss it. We can have a workshop on this. That was something that we had also thrown out there, was maybe we should just have a workshop on it to discuss it and figure out the best way to do it. But trying to find the proper process so that we don't have this problem of people accusing us of giving us money to nonprofits that aren't properly formed, or that aren't proper nonprofits, based upon tax reasons, not based upon opinions. And the other thing is that and I don't know if it's happening because I haven't tallied everything up, but I did mention this when we had our own private meetings about this. We tend to, my recollection was in the past, you had a limit as to how many donations you could give to an organization in a year. That seems to have just gone away, because you've seen that there are times that we are donating to the same organizations over and over and over again. And it does become a problem, because if you're donating that much money through a contingency fund, it's almost as though you're funding that organization, yet you still don't have the control over it that you would expect to if you're paying for it. So that it's really just putting in some procedures and policies. It's not trying to tell people that their organization is better than somebody else's. They can all be listed in there. That's not the problem. It's just giving people an opportunity to fill out the proper forms, submit the request, do what, let the vetting process take place, and then add it to a list of things that get either approved or not approved. I don't think we'd have a problem with approving things that are properly vetted and that we know are appropriate organizations. We haven't really had an issue with that overall, at least not in the last 4 years that I've seen. So that's really what it's about. So if anybody else has anything else they want to say about it, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that was clear. And Frank, if I was incorrect in speaking on any of that, please let me know.
No?
Okay.
Good.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next, we will have Commissioner Louis Vermolli.
So I am totally in favor of coming up with a plan and keeping us completely out of that process of asking for the money to certain organizations. Guys, I think that's where we get into the trouble. I think the responsibility should be on the organization to fill out the proper forms and tell us what they're going to use the money for, why they need the money. And then we're all, I think, very responsible people up here, worried about how we're spending taxpayer dollars. And I think if the organization makes a good case for whatever it is that they're trying to use those monies for, I think all of us here will make the right decisions. But I personally don't want organizations coming to me asking me for money and then coming here and asking you for the vote, because it puts us in a very awkward situation. And again, it puts us in a combative situation, possibly. And I would prefer that those organizations do it themselves, put the onus on them, have them put forth that proper form or whatever the form is, and then we make approvals up here, yes or no.
Thank you, Commissioner Romoli. Vice Mayor?
Well, to respond to that, Commissioner Rowley, that's what they did before. They put a request in, and the request you'd get from them would be $5,000 from one entity to $50,000 to another entity and more. And what happens is after everybody goes, well, okay, that's the great way to go, then we're going to give that to them because they did more than then you insult another person, and the other person comes back, and the next thing you get an email saying, well, I should ask for $15,000 because my club is this. I'm just telling everybody that I'm not saying it isn't there. We need to be very, very careful on how or what we do as far as the plan you were talking about. And and I know, I felt really comfortable the last couple of years doing the contingency, because individually, we all have a favorite, and there's no question about that. And we also have the city contingency. And the city contingency, when somebody came up, we all gathered at that time, and we did agree. Often the mayor would come up and ask, at the time, A.J. Ryan IV would say, let's use the city's contingency. Do we all agree on that? And then the larger amounts or some of the other things would come up. We all agreed. If there was a disagreement, it wasn't an argument because we were using city contingency. It was easy going away. Then somebody would turn around and say, well, I'll take it out of my contingency. And we give $1,000 or $2,000 out of and it worked really well. There was no arguments. And if maybe we should raise our contingency up on our personal contingency, if you want to do that, if you're going to be giving it away through another program, or take some of the grant money and put it to it. I don't know how that works, but I'm just making everybody aware here that I've seen it, and I know you've seen the one thing, but it's something that we really need to think about. And I'm not trying to get on everybody, but I just saw how bad some of those really got. So that's all I have to say on that. I think I beat that one down.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Romoli.
And again, I agree with you, Vice Mayor. I just think that we need to be a lot more concerned about how the monies are spent, because they are taxpayer dollars. Right. And I just want to make sure that, I think we have some really smart people here that can come up with a process, and maybe there's a maximum amount of money that can be distributed. Maybe we keep it at a max. Well, we should anyways, because I don't think anybody should be asking for $50,000. But I think there should be a process in which we put a certain amount as a maximum, and then we stay out of it. And whoever it is that wants to request those funds, they do it in the proper way, and we review it and make a decision. And then I can't say, well, that's my favorite, and you can't say it's your favorite. It's a random situation where someone can put in that request. But we just need to be better about taking care of taxpayer dollars, in my opinion.
Thank you, Commissioner Romoli. Commissioner Llewellyn.
And my last point on this is, I think we're all saying the same thing, because we are all willing to make donations. That's not what this is about. I'm not saying take it away. I'm not saying to not do it. What I'm saying is do it in a way that there is a procedure that's followed, that we have a process in place so that we can vet the different organizations, so we can make sure that we're not over donating to certain organizations, and that we're following our charter and following the policies that are already in place for other funding sources as well. That's all that I'm saying. And I think that Frank and Eve can probably come up with a policy that we can look at, and then we can discuss it further as needed, do it as a first reading or second reading, and then go from there. Unless you all really want to beat the horse to death and go to a workshop, but I think they can probably come up with something that we can look at, and then we can make changes to it accordingly.
Thank you,
Agree?
Commissioner. I will weigh in on this because I was at the tail end, I believe, coming into the commission when we first got our own, discretionary funds to be able to distribute to different nonprofits. And I do remember there was a policy in place where the nonprofits could apply, and they had to fill out this cumbersome type of application where it was asking them about, what foods were refrigerated and what foods weren't. I mean, it got a lot of red tape to the point where it was difficult for them to be able to get approved for the funds. And then once we switched over to $25,000 or for the discretionary funds, people gave to the organizations that they wanted to give to. And then there was no argument about whose organization received what funds because, we're elected to be good actors, not bad actors with our funding. And we had hoped, to me, all I wanted to make sure was that that the organizations are in good faith and in good standing, and that, that they are serving the residents and the citizens or the children of Dania Beach. I don't want it to become a policy where, we need to do a whole back and forth and have a lot of, and make it difficult for nonprofits. But if they are simple, if it's, if they're in good standing, they're active, they've been shown that they have a proven, a nonprofit in the city of Dania Beach, then we should be able to move forward with that. I don't want it to be such a cumbersome policy where, we need to do a whole bunch of back and forth with people that we've been, supporting for several years. We know the Lions Club, we know certain people are good actors and they're in good standing. The problem comes in when, there are questions about organizations that are not in good standing. And so that should be a SOP, right? That should just be standard that you need to be in good status, and your nonprofit needs to be in good status if the city's going to give you, any amount of money at all. So I just want to make sure that we toe the line here, and that we're not, going down to, giving people 10,000 different things that they need to meet in order to get money from the city. But I also don't want to be under a cloud of suspicion, under any optics at all, where we are giving funds to nonprofits or people who are not in good standing. So I just think that we should be able to do that. And Commissioner Ryan, I will let you speak at this time as soon as I can see you. There you go.
Yeah, I just want to make sure when we decide to donate or invest our contingency fund, there's not a requirement that you have to be a nonprofit.
That is part of it.
Yeah. You have to be a nonprofit?
Yes.
So, like the American Legion, they're not a nonprofit.
I think they're a little bit different. I'm not sure what the exactly.
They should be a nonprofit because they're a civic organization.
Yeah.
They should be.
They may not be federally like 501c3, but they should be registered as not-for-profit because of the way that they operate.
Okay. Well, I guess since I got the mic, yeah, this is just making it that it's one more. I know it does add a little red tape, and we don't want to make the process extremely difficult for anybody. So if you could present us just, with the basic application that you would be providing, and then the commission can review it, and then we could just go from there. That sounds good to me. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Commissioner. So do I have a motion? I'll make a motion. Hold on, sorry, no you won't.
I guess I'll make a motion to approve going forward with preparing a draft policy, procedure, and application for the commission to review and comment on.
Excellent motion. Do I have a second?
And you have a second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. All right, discussion. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you,
you, Commission. And we are going to move on to item 13.2 and appointing an alternate to the Solid Waste Authority Executive Committee. Is that City Clerk?
No, but I can just provide some clarity. I think, but right now, the mayor is the current appointed, I'm sorry, Commissioner Ryan. I'm so sorry. I stared at him. And we need to make a new appointment, given the election, so I leave it all to you.
And an alternative in
can-
case he can't make it.
Right.
And Commissioner Ryan, would you like to just say a couple words about how you serve it? It is a great committee, but you do have a lot of work on that committee, so I would just, if you don't mind.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, the Solid Waste Authority, I was selected by our city to be our representative. It's been a great honor to serving the last year. We meet a lot. So this board was created. It started, the creations of it were several years ago, created by our current county mayor, Beam Fur, and Greg Ross, Cooper City. They're two instrumental factors in creating this authority. And we get on the authority, there's a governing board, okay? So there's one representative from each city, and they're on the governing board. So there's 28 out of the 31 cities in Broward are in on this. And what the Solid Waste Authority is doing is it's determining how we're gonna handle our waste, our recycling, and our disposal and our transportation of garbage for the next 5, 10, 20, all the way up to 40 years. We're trying to create a 40-year plan. I was fortunate enough to be elected to the executive committee on the Solid Waste Authority, so there's only 10 spots of that out of the 28, and there's 4 big cities, 4 medium cities, 2 small cities. So I'm one of the small city representatives on the executive committee. We're having a meeting this on the 20th, and they're going to choose a new director as well, a new chair of the Solid Waste Authority. So we're finally gaining some ground. We hired an executive director, Todd Storty. He's sent us all information. We've seen the master plan. We are drafting our master plan. We're going to approve it probably in March. And the county uses our master plan and our advice to make some of the decisions that they're going to make, whether it comes to expanding the landfills. Monarch Trash Hill is a big issue. So it's a very informative board, and we're trying to get more teeth to us where we can actually implement our own policies that the county can follow as well. So yeah, there's a lot going on, and like I said, we're even meeting on December 20th. So we're very active, and yeah, it's been an honor to serve on it, and I look forward to getting an alternate as well tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner, for providing that insight. Very helpful. Do we have any volunteers?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah?
Okay. Commissioner Romoli has volunteered to be the alternate for the Solid Waste Authority Executive Committee. Thank you.
All right. There you go, man.
All right, I like it. Next, we have item 14.1, advisory board appointments. City Clerk.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So I think the easiest way of doing this, as you all have been aware, I've been reaching out to you about your appointments and what appointments or what vacancies you have for your boards. So I think the easiest way to just do this is go down the board, each board, and I can go by each commissioner, mayor, vice mayor, and let me know what your appointment is, and I can just go down jotting the name. Most of you have sent me contact information as well, and if you haven't, if you could just continue to do that so we can reach out to them as soon as possible, because we do have these meetings occurring. So I want to make sure that they are able to attend their upcoming meetings. So right now, for the first one, I have the Dania Beach Housing Authority, which is one appointment by Mayor Davis, and Mayor Davis has provided me with the name of Dr. Benny
Moultrie.
So that's one appointment right there. And if you want, do you want to just read them all, go down and then just make a motion at the end for all appointments? Would that
Yeah,
be
just go
easier?
ahead and read
Okay,
them all, yeah.
Perfect.
Yes.
So then for the Education Advisory Board, I have one appointment by Mayor Davis. Do you have, you gave me that one, right?
No,
No,
I did
okay.
a planning and zoning one at the last minute.
Yes, that's what it was. Okay. So do you have an appointment for the education?
No.
None. Okay. Let me just mark that here. Okay, so then I also have one appointment by Vice Mayor Salvino.
I'm not ready.
Hold on,
I know we're
hold
doing
on.
that tonight, sorry. Must have missed the email.
Okay.
Email.
And then I have one one appointment by Commissioner Ramoli. You gave me that, right?
On the education you were talking about, correct?
Yes, correct.
Right, so that one is the only one that's undecided. Currently, I believe Polly
Correct.
Jones is on there,
Okay.
and we'll leave it that way until,
Okay, sounds,
I have a couple people in mind, and I'm just waiting for them to say yes or no.
okay. And we'll leave
Can
it
I-
as for now.
Can I say something on that? If Polly doesn't want, mine dropped off, I think mine was Charlene on the advisory board. She's ill.
Well, she's still interested in serving, so she's, I
Well,
mean,
if
if
Polly
she's on it
wants
for
that-
now, we can keep
So
her unless,
I will fill.
I mean, if he has a new appointee and Polly still wants to be on, I'll take her.
well, he doesn't have one right now, so she's still serving as of right
Well,
now.
we'll cross that next week when he finds out.
Okay, sounds good.
You only
Okay,
one anyway.
so that's it for
I have one, I'll give it to you.
education. Moving on to the General Employees Pension Board, it's one appointment by the commission as a whole, given Commissioner Ramoli's, do we have one appointment as a whole, or does anybody want to recommend somebody?
For the,
This is for the general employees.
oh,
Pension, correct.
Madam Mayor, if I can just make a comment. On this board, I've been on this board for, I believe, the last 5 years. And whoever it is that we place on here, I think it's very, very important that they have some type of accounting or some kind of investment background. I don't think we should just appoint anybody to this, because we're dealing with employee pension and some major decisions. And the current structure of that board, I think that deserve to have someone that really has an interest in that topic and has somewhat of a background in it. That's just my comments.
thank you, Commissioner, for that insight. And so with that, I think then we'll take a little bit longer to look at somebody who's worthy of that position.
Okay, so nobody at this moment.
No.
Okay, so then moving along to our Green Advisory Board, I need one appointment by Mayor Davis.
Not ready yet.
Okay. I need one appointment by Vice Mayor Salvino. Okay. And I need one appointment by Commissioner Ramoli.
I have Joanna Davis, and I believe I've given you her information already.
Thank you. Okay, so then moving along to our Marine Advisory Board, I need an appointment by Mayor Davis.
Working on it.
Okay. And Vice Mayor Salvino.
Don't I have Anthony Thackum on there?
Yes. I have not received a response as
Well,
to whether
he
he
wants to
wishes to
stay on
remain.
it. He's on it. That's
Okay,
my
you want to keep
yes,
him?
mhm.
Okay. I will make that note, Anthony. And then I have Commissioner Ramoli for Marine. Robert Ostrov. Is that who you kept, or is that was somebody?
That's correct. He's already on there, and we want to keep him on there,
Correct, okay,
Robert.
okay.
That was you, yeah, it was sort of a switcheroo, yeah. Right, we want to keep him on there.
Right. Yeah, that was the most recent, yeah. That was like the switcheroo for you
Yeah.
and James and
It was a switch between, with
Commissioner James
Commissioner
is-
James, that we swapped it. But he,
Swapped a bunch
just in conversation from the people on the advisory board, said he's been a big asset to that because of he is a Marine Patrol, he's a Dania Beach resident, but he's a Marine Patrol for, I guess, Miami Beach. And he's brought a lot to this Marine, a lot of energy and a lot of knowledge that's going to really benefit the Marine Advisory Board. Happy with that appointment, very happy.
Thank you.
Next, we have our Parks and Recreation, Community Affairs and Advisory Board. I need one appointment by Mayor Davis.
We will work on that one.
Okay, Vice Mayor Salvino.
I have,
You have right now Richard Obby.
I wish I didn't even ask him.
He's just here.
I know.
Darn.
Well, if anybody needs one, I have one. If Rich wants to stay on, if Rich doesn't, I've got a call from somebody, so.
And it shows here that we didn't get a response on whether he did or did not, so I don't know if you
Well,
want
why
to.
didn't you ask him when he was here? I'll ask Rich, and if not, I have somebody else. I'll call you the name in for you.
Okay, thank you.
And if not, and if he does keep it, you want to, you know who he is. I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Okay, and then Commissioner Romoli for Parks and Rec.
Yes, and I've given you Victoria Rozier as my appointee.
Yes. And I need one appointment by Commissioner Ryan. Do you have anybody?
Mayor? Yes. I gave you the information, I believe. This is for Parks and Rec, right?
Yes.
And, okay, yeah, my appointee's actually here. We got John Mode. Yay! It's his first crack at it. So, it's first crack at it. So, at city politics, I guess, at a advisory level, not the marine advisory, but the Parks and Rec and Community Engagement Advisory. So, just want to recognize for being here and thank him for stepping up to the plate.
Thank you, John.
Yep. And yeah, and sent through the whole meeting too. Congratulations.
Okay, perfect. And then we need one appointment from everybody for the Planning and Zoning Board, which I have already for Mayor Davis, Randall Wright. I need an appointment from Vice Mayor Salvino.
Who did I appoint last time?
Let me tell you right now, for Planning and Zoning, we have,
I thought it was Lewis. It was. All right, he has to resign from the commission to go back on it.
oh, yes, it is Lewis.
Okay, I'll let you know the next meeting on that one. That's a tough one. I got to be very careful with that one.
Okay, and I need an appointment by Commissioner Llewellyn.
I'm going to reappoint Quinn Roberts.
Okay, perfect. Okay, and Commissioner Romoli.
I have appointed Sasha Rule.
Perfect.
Who was her appointment at that time?
It was Deborah Bell.
From,
Commissioner James' appointment was Deborah Bell. Okay, and Commissioner Ryan?
I'm still waiting for my final decision. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. And then there are two alternate appointments that need to be made by the commission as a whole. If you want me to let you know who they are right now? We have
Yes,
Cheryl
please.
Baker Hill and Joanna Grenat.
For alternates,
Those are the two alternates.
Okay.
And that's made as a whole, the commission as a whole. So I don't know if you want to make new appointments or reappoint the current board members again. It's up to
hold on, I have a comment from Commissioner Romoli and then Vice Mayor.
No, I was just going to ask, Alora, did they respond by saying they wanted to be alternates? Stay on?
Let's see. That's a good question. I don't have that in front. Let me see. I don't have that in front of me, but if you give me a minute, I'm sure I can ask Erin and she'll tell me.
Now, so it was Joanna
Joanna and Cheryl.
and Cheryl.
Yes.
Cheryl Baker Hill.
I know Joanna stepped in for me a couple of times that I wasn't able to make a meeting, and she's terrific, so.
No, we did not get any responses.
Okay, so I had offered, or I've talked to Gunnar Maglioka, who ran Select Selection, would like to be an alternate if one of those do not want to be on there. I believe I sent you his name, his information.
Gunnar?
Yeah.
As an alternate?
Yeah.
Yes, you gave me the information.
Just in case the other two do not want to be reappointed.
Yeah, we got no response for them, so
Yeah,
I mean, it's
so-
up to you if you wish to reappoint or appoint somebody new.
Yeah.
Vice Mayor?
Hi, thank you, Mayor. Earlier this week, but before these advisory boards came out, I did question you on bringing this up on the agenda. Just for everybody's knowledge on this stuff, I think the advisory boards, I was very surprised, honestly, that there was as many attending, and there was only, I think, one, maybe two persons on all those advisory boards that were multiple absentees. If they are their appointments, if they're your appointments, I would ask you to ask them what they want to do, and if not, get somebody on there, because I thought there was more, and I even brought up the fact of sunsetting some of the advisory boards, but I don't think they need to be from what I saw. I think that they're all valid boards and that they're doing all right. There's just a couple of people that may not be able to make it. If you look on mine, you'll see that one of my appointments didn't show up because she's very ill. So, and she did decline on her. She did send it in to decline. But with that being said, I think that we should monitor these advisory board every quarter. I think we should get an every quarter report to see who's showing up and who's not. It's not very hard. Just you've already got the sheet made up, printed out. Either you had A for absent and A for excused absence and P for present. And I think if we can get that every quarter, it's up to us as representatives of the city to our advisory boards that our appointees should be showing up and representing the city as well. So I'm asking you to present that to us every quarter.
Sure.
And also, I would like to ask the commission, I think the Planning and Zoning Board's got 5, is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
5 members, 2 alternates.
Okay, that was the Parks and Recreation that has 5, right?
I'm sorry, Parks and Recreation
has
is
5.
5.
And I had asked you, I think I was asked the board, if we could have 1 alternate for the Parks and Recreation, just so that they can make sure there's a quorum there. And the alternate, as you know, is not a voting person unless somebody doesn't show up, and but their input wouldn't hurt. But it's okay with everybody, me, whatever you suggest, but I just think that it's an important board that if 1 alternate would be there, I don't care who appoints it, anything like that. I'm not asking for me to appoint it, but I'm asking for your feeling on whether we should ask to have 1 alternate on the Parks and Rec. We're growing. We got 3 brand new parks coming up, and it wouldn't hurt to have an alternate to make sure we have a quorum for voting on everything. So I'm asking the commission for consensus or.
And if the direction is for that, I'll bring back a resolution in January to make that amendment.
Okay.
To
We have
clarify for that
consensus?
position, did you want it to be the alternate appointed as a whole, a commission as a whole?
Yes.
Correct? Okay.
As a whole.
Okay. And did we have do we make consensus on the 2 alternate positions for P and Z? Do we want to keep them or, okay, yes.
Hold on one second. Commissioner Llewellyn.
I just got a text from Joanna. She would like to be an alternate.
She wants to remain as an
Yes.
alternate? Okay. I mean, it's up, do you want to just,
Everybody in consensus on that?
Yes.
Yes.
okay. And then we'll leave Cheryl Baker as is, or do you?
Well, you need to give her a
Just
phone.
leave her
Okay.
as is for
Who
now.
You'll reach
Sounds
out.
good, unless there's any
know her?
changes.
Yeah.
I can continue to try and reach out to her and see if, we hear back from her if she's interested or not. And then if there's interest, then if not, I'll bring it back for an appointment. We'll keep you
Well,
updated.
I'll reach out to her, and her son as well, I know. Okay. Thank you, City Clerk. Any further comments on the advisory board? Seeing none, we will move on to.
I'm sorry, so we have a consensus on
Yes.
all of those?
Yes.
Thank you.
Do we need to make a motion or just consensus?
Consensus is fine.
All right, we have consensus. Moving on to commission comments, we will start with Commissioner Lori Llewellyn.
Well, thank you. And we did good tonight, again, with the time. We're doing good, getting a lot done in a shorter period of time. I don't really have a lot to say tonight. I want to wish everybody a happy holiday season. I did a couple of things that we discussed tonight I would like to kind of comment on and see if anybody has any thoughts on it. We were talking, the manager mentioned earlier in her report that we're going to be doing strategic planning again in February or March, we said. I'm curious if there is a way that we could encompass the CRA with that as well, to do some strategic planning. If that is, and I don't know if legally we can do that, but if we can, then, because I know it's supposed to be a separate agency, but I think it would be beneficial, since we already will have Lyle there, to maybe do that and talk about, because there were a lot of things tonight that we brought up that, we were talking about maybe doing a workshop on certain things. And so maybe we do need to rethink some of the priorities and what those priorities are going to be. So I'd like us to think about that, if anybody agrees or disagrees, or.
It's not illegal, we just would have priorities, let's say, after the full discussion, that would be applicable to the CRA and the others would be applicable to the city, or they could be joint.
Okay. Anyway, good. Thoughts?
Think about it, whatever you want to do. I don't care.
I think they should remain separate meetings. I don't mind doing them, but I think that because we have separate budgets and they get commingled, I think that the CRA topic should stay CRA topics. And I don't mind doing a strategic planning meeting and having some of those ideas fleshed out in the workshop and some of the items that we talked about. But putting them together too much mixes the pot for me. I don't know how anybody else feels about that.
Anybody?
All right. So we'll look at doing them separately.
I mean,
All right.
well, do you want to do them on the same days, though? That's what I'm saying. I mean, at least if we have Lyle here, perhaps we could encompass it somehow with certain questions that are asked, so that at least we have some sense of it.
I'm fine with that, see if he's available.
Okay.
Okay.
That was one. And then the other was, so we had the young lady that spoke about the
Oh, sorry.
crosswalks. And I know our city is really good at doing master plans of the city, different things that we do. Is that something, to the manager, through the mayor, that we can encompass in another type of assessment that we're doing? Like if we're doing a citywide assessment of certain things, whether it might be, you know, I don't even know, traffic or whatever it might be?
Well, if I may, through the mayor, that's ongoing. Not too long ago, I was speaking with a commissioner remotely about Fifth Avenue, and we've done speed trackings and things like that, and we've had the chief come in and make reports. Well, as that resident was speaking that lives adjacent to Frost, I was also texting Cassie at the same time, because as we were able to do around the area of CW, I think that we should treat all parks, particularly the major parks, as zones where we want to slow down traffic like we do around schools. So it just gave us some ideas to be able to come up with a game plan. But, you know, the flashing light, some speed humps, but we'll be talking with our traffic engineer as well.
Okay, thank you. And then I also just want to let everybody know that we're, I know Eve and I in particular have spoken quite a bit about the homeless ordinances and whatnot that are going on between the state and the county. I know that she is on a committee that meets with the county, correct, that talks about these different issues, and I am still, we're in the process still of trying to set up this meeting with the current county mayor and liaisons in other cities. So there will be updates on that, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens in January. I do think the law is, I'm not worried about how we respond overall to any complaints or issues that come up with regard to enforcing the laws. I think that our team does a really good job of responding when there is a call or a concern. Generally, if they, you know, obviously BSO isn't going to go there first if there's something else more involved going on in the city, but there is a period of time that they do have to respond to it. And I think that does help us tremendously, and they do a good job with that. So, but I know that there are a lot of ideas being thrown out there. I am always open to additional ideas, so if anybody does have some thoughts on it, I'm happy to share them. I think I'm not quite sure what we're looking at in January yet for the meeting, but there will be a meeting that's basically encompassing South Broward to discuss some of these items. And when it happens, I'll come back and share. So with that, have a happy holiday season and a happy new year and good meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Llewellyn, and we will move on to Commissioner Romoli.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to thank BSO for the invitation today to your luncheon. It was terrific. It was great to see all your people there, and I probably won't remember any names, but I did see some faces. It was wonderful tribute to all of their work, and I want to again thank you very, very much for the invitation. And I also want to say, Coop, we're going to miss you. You have been a pleasure to be around, and you are not going to be forgotten. You'll have to come back every so often, okay? Because you are amazing, and I'm sure you're going to be terrific in your new role, and they are very, very lucky to have you. I also want to say thank you to Captain Pelazar. I always call him Captain. I was at his toy drive over at Dania Point. It was terrific to meet all the cadets that you had out there. I had many conversations with them, and it's an amazing program. And I got a lot of inspiration by those young men. So keep up the great work, Sergio. And because this is a season of giving, I think everyone needs to kind of reach out to someone that you think needs some help or needs a hug or a kiss or something. Take them to lunch, take them to dinner, or just tell them they mean something, they're important to you. That's what the season's all about, and I hope that you'll reach out to someone that you may have not talked to in the past or you may have not talked to in a while, and just give your good wishes to them. And with that, again, happy holidays to everybody, and look forward to a wonderful 2025. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Romoli. Commissioner Ryan.
Thank you, Mayor. My question here is regarding the manager's report. It's about the Nyberg Swanson House. I went in there and I took a look around, and work's going full steam ahead. Excited for that being back open to the community. My biggest concern, I had two concerns with it. When I'm walking there through the first floor, it has beautiful Dade County pine wood floors that they're going to restore. They're going to redo them. And when you look in the kitchen, you could see that there was clearly laminate floors put over in the kitchen. And look, I'm not a historic preservation expert, but they said that they're just going to put laminate back over, but laminate doesn't sound very historic to me if you ask me. And you could see that it had the original wood floor under. So that would be one thing that I'd want to look into again. And my number two thing, which is really discouraging, is how the second floor, according to the consultation from the fire marshal, the second floor is not even accessible. We can only keep it as storage. So we're spending $1.2 million on a historic house, and we can't even go upstairs. I don't see the point of restoring that house if we can't even go upstairs for it. $1.2 million in 1,400 square foot house. You should be able to have access upstairs. We could do like a historic society, display or something. But if we're just going to use that for storage, it's discouraging. I don't know if we could get it reevaluated or relooked at. They said it's for single egress because there's just one stairwell going up. That's the only reason.
If I may, through the mayor.
Please.
The fire marshal, neither myself or legal, where there is one point of egress, we cannot have office. Prior to the restoration, when I had to shut it down because of its condition, it was only used for storage. You had the chamber with an office downstairs, and you had Eric from Parks and Recreation with an office downstairs. The investment is going to open up this beautiful facility, and we would be able to have, not just a much-needed storage, but also offices should you wish to have, for example, the Historical Society and the Chamber of Commerce. But when the fire marshal says no, it's no. It has nothing to do with myself. Candido and I have discussed it at length, but because of the single point of egress, it can only be storage, and it's always been storage, at least since I've been here.
So just because it has one way to access to get upstairs, but it's a historical property.
It doesn't matter when it comes to the safety. That is the ruling. We could circle back and have them, reiterate why. But you saw that in my report. We won't circle back because I did have this conversation with you.
Yeah, I'd like to look back into it because $1.2 million, we can't even go upstairs. It's kind of ridiculous to me if you ask me.
We can look at it again, but I know even at the LADA that we did in South Dade, it was a similar issue with their second floor.
Okay, all right. $1.2 million for storage. And
sir?
That's it with the Nyberg Swanson house. And then the other part about the vinyl flooring, if we could look into that again. And other than that, wish everybody a Happy New Year. See you next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan. We are on to Vice Mayor Salvino.
Oh, boy. Well, I don't want to get involved in that conversation with Commissioner Ryan and the city manager, but I do have a question on that. If the egress is only one way because it's only designed for one person, why would we be allowed to use it for storage for somebody that can't get? If somebody's running upstairs and there's a fire, and one's going upstairs, but the fire are run up and down the stairs, it only has room for one. What's the point again? See, it's kind of a catch-22 there.
Rather than me speaking from my manager's role, we will answer these questions and circle back with
Okay.
the fire marshal
No
to
problem.
be able to make that.
It just kind of hit me that way. I mean, I just understand. Okay, yeah, all right. Anyhow, speaking about complaining, I'm off. You know, I like anybody that's listening, the residents on the TV and so on. My phone is open and my email is open. If you have any, things which I've already gotten quite a few on, issues with the city, please let me know. Our great administration has really been amazing for all the things that I bring up to them, and I want to thank you, Anna, and all your team for what you guys do for me. I call you, you get it done. You're a getter doner. So if anybody that's out there that has any questions, bring it to me, and I will pass it on to the best team in the world here to get your problems either looked at, responded to, or fixed. Our city is in great shape, and I have to tell you, there was a couple of complaints about debris on the roads and so on. And, I see our trucks out there all the time sweeping. I see our city going around. Listen, don't be afraid to pick up some stuff yourself. We used to have these like the Lions Club, they used to dedicate, I know your family has a road there, Commissioner Ryan, that they dedicate that road and you keep it clean. Your name is on there. They used to do that. And I know in my neighborhood, I see my residents walking up and down the street picking stuff up. So maybe instead of getting upset, maybe try to help out a little bit and participate and help keep clean the neighborhoods and teach the young ones what it takes, like what to be, to make your city better. This is just some ideas that might end our year and start off a better new year. Oh God, I don't know how to handle it, but I'm gonna miss you, Coop. I don't know if Jason's gonna be the same without you. You two are the dynamic duo back there. I gotta tell you, you got one big guy and one that smiles all the time. Appreciations to everything you guys. Every time that Jason was on vacation, if I had an issue, I called you. You were all over it. You're gonna make a great asset to BSO as a new chief, and where you're going, captain, chief, either way, you get that prestigious number up there. But I'm proud of you, and I knew it wasn't going to be long. I could see it all over you. So congratulations on your promotion, and don't forget to call me. I want to come and see where you work. So see if you're doing better than the sheriff itself. And I want to thank BSO today. I know the city might have been part of it, but Jason, you and your staff did a great job doing the presentation to your deputies and your employees of the year awards. It is a great honor, and to hear your colonel stand up and tell us that we're the best city in Broward County, that was an honor to hear that coming from that. And I have to say thank you for you and to the city staff for putting this all together, because from what I'm gathering, they don't do that anywhere else. And if they don't, that just makes us another step up. And I feel that Dania Beach is probably the best city in Broward County. I'm very proud to be a part of it. Have a happy holiday, and thank you very much.
Ditto on that, Vice Mayor. He did say out of 17 departments that Dania Beach was the best. And so I will keep going with that, because today was the first day that we got to sit down and break bread with this brand new commission, with our administration, with BSO, and bittersweet because Coop, but I'm so glad it was the Last Supper and the First Supper all in one. And it was a beautiful sight to see, because we have such a great, true, genuine camaraderie and affection for one another. And we're gonna miss you guys together, but we're excited for you. Nobody deserves it more. And when you see people who deserve that promotion, it makes us all proud that you came from Dania Beach and now you're gonna go be the captain. So do your thing, girl. And so, I want to, we talked about this in our first strategic planning meeting, and I'm excited that we get to bring Commissioner Ryan into it and that we have Commissioner Ramoli that are going to add new perspectives to the strategic planning meeting. But we talked about having more opportunities for team building and camaraderie amongst our leadership team, and I think we did a little micro kind of event today with that, and I would like for us to just periodically plan and think about that, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in the strategic planning meeting. But it really was a feel-good moment where we could just sit down and celebrate one another for who we are and working as a team and not having the pressure of everything but around us, but just to sit down and break bread with one another. So I want to look forward to more events and things like that. This past week, I was at a conference at the Florida League of Cities Conference, the 2024 Legislative Conference in Orlando. It did include the excuse me, the League of Mayors meeting and the inaugural Education and Training and Advisory meeting. And so there's a lot of opportunities that I'm going to send over to the city manager and HR and to help and really support newly elected officials. That's something that the league wants to do. And it really, we had a luncheon with the Broward League of Cities. Commissioner Ramoli was there, but it extends over into the Florida League of Cities as well. How do we really support people coming into government? Even if you have a great business background, government is a completely different beast. And how do we make sure that people coming into government are successful? And there are so many resources within Broward, within the Florida League of Cities. So I'm happy to share that information as we go forward. And we always, I know I'm going to hear this. We talked about the Nyberg-Swanson house, but we have to ask about the Women's Club. So, I'm going to get that question. So I know that we have some issues regarding issues that we're not going to bring back up right here, but if city manager, do we have any update on the Women's Club and where we are in that process, just so that we're not speaking about one and not the other?
Absolutely. Mayor, rest assured, like every single thing and every ribbon cutting and every groundbreaking that has occurred in the past 5 years during this administration, we're going to have a seamless transition from the investment of the Nyberg-Swanson into the Women's Club. And rest assured that you will be cutting a ribbon very shortly, soon thereafter, after we get started with the Women's Club.
Thank you so much, City Manager. I do appreciate that. And as we move on and get into the holiday season, the fraud is up all over the city. We've gotten some tips. I don't know if we can maybe put something together for our residents, but it seems out of control more than ever before. So I just general safety tips, whatever we can do, because I'm getting calls, it seems like almost daily, one here, one there, and they're starting to add up. So be careful, beware, be safe. It's the holidays, people are still in packages, so we want everybody to be as safe as possible and maybe follow some safety tips that we can provide. Next, we had I'm getting ready to go. I want to say a special thank you. Sometimes I've been able to and grateful to be sort of mentored by 3 different mayors so far. We've had, came in with, while Mayor Lori Llewellyn was going out, and I know that Vice Mayor was the mayor when I was a resident, and I really want to thank, and this is not easy, doing these buttons and trying to have your own thoughts and coordinating all of these different things. It's harder than dancing, I can tell you that, and I'm not a dancer. But I want to say thank you for your leadership. It's been something to learn from each and every one of you. Our outgoing mayor, what a phenomenal job just to come in brand new and do the job that you've done for the past 2 years. And thank you for always being professional and making us look good on the outside. And I like when people understand that, you know, we've done ours and you're there for me to help me to be a good leader in these shoes. And I know I have big shoes to fill, but I'm going to show off a little bit. The outgoing mayor, that's why I'm so excited to pound my gavel, because I have my very own with my name engraved, given to me by the outgoing mayor. It is Happy Holidays, it's Happy Hanukkah, it's Merry Christmas, Dania Beach, and I will, on that note, this meeting is adjourned.
Yeah, I like when you smack that.
All right, happy first meeting. Thank you.
Great job, man.
If I'm not out of town, I'll be there.